debate. Now, we're going to flip a coin. I want to be fair. I want to be very fair. Isaac Doe, Martin Kollie. Martin, you're the stranger. You want head or you want tail? As to who to go first.
Tail.
And you want tail? Isaac Doe, you would take head, and I'm going to spin this. Wherever you land, okay. That's the first thing. I will get it and tell you where you land. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. And we have head. You can take a look, please. So who's ever take head? Isaac Doe. Isaac, you got a first shot. Introduce yourself and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Hello, Stanton, and hello to the listeners, Dr. Brooklyn. Hello, and thanks for the invite, Martin. Thanks for being here. And thanks for starting all this. It is important that people get to know how we got here. So I posted on my Facebook page about the overlapping of the invite from President Chong to President Barker. Comparing that with Biden's invite to President Weir, Martin took an exception. He said a lot on Facebook. He and I went back and forth. We talked about old debate. I didn't know exactly what the debate was for, so I accepted. And they came the invite. Now, Stanton told me that we'll be coming to defend our positions of those things we've always spoken about on radios, on the media, the lies, the accusations, the achievements of the government that Martin support as compared to the achievement of the government that I support. There are policies in healthcare, in education, infrastructure development, corruption, the economy, and how all of those blend into the life of the everyday Liberian. That's where we will be focusing. But don't forget, Martin started this whole thing as a contest of who is smart, who dull, who is smart. By that he meant your educational record, coming up from high school, elementary, what you've achieved, what is there. That's where I want to introduce myself from, showing the differences between Martin and me. We both graduated from high school. Good for us. In the process of graduating from high school, though, I obtained a double promotion. Martin did not.
But Isaac, let me interrupt you. Isaac, just introduce yourself.
No. Dr. Boblet, I beg you. We are watching the time. Martin will be given equal time as well. Please. There's a lot they need to say. We ask Isaac to continue.
Yeah,
Isaac, please continue.
In addition to that, I came first in every single class from the 3rd grade until the 12th grade. When a friend of mine overtook me by 0.3%, I came second at graduation. I attended Stella Marie's for 2 years. During that time, I was always on the Dean's Honor Roll list. Martin has never appeared on one. In my first year as a freshman, I was invited at Voscom to take an aptitude test. During that test, we had senior students taking it. I came one. I left from Liberia with the opportunity to travel to the US. I wanted to continue. Unfortunately, they couldn't accept my credit hours. And therefore, I had to start the whole wheel over, unlike Martin Kollie, who took around 10 years to graduate with one single bachelor's degree from the University of Liberia. I took around 3.5 years to actually get that. I went over my master's. Now I'm doing my second. Now work relation. I work as Liberia's deputy minister. I should be talking to deputy minister, but the situation calls for it. Right now, I am the market manager for America's 2nd largest banking industry, controlling more than 6 cities in Minnesota. A feat that I achieved within 6 months to 9 months when I joined the company. Now you will want to know, to be qualified for a promotion, you must have stayed at least 1 year in a company. I achieved that feat in just 9 months. Why is this important to my introduction? Martin talk about smart, dull, not clever. A person who is not smart, who is not clever, who is not intelligent, cannot achieve the feat I achieved. Well, I look forward to a good debate. I really don't want to call it debate. I would call it a lecture series or some discussion kind of a thing. But I'm hoping we are here to defend our positions. And to our people, thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Minister Isaac Doe. I got to put the minister to your name, and we have to have this as a very, very serious program tonight. To all of you joining us, we are glad to bring in the activist Martin K. and Kollie. Yes, indeed, Martin, you have the time to introduce yourself.
Thank you, CEO. Let me extend my greetings to Dr. Buple, Diamond, and the comrade across the other side, former Deputy Minister Isaac Doe. Before I begin my introduction, it will be important to say that I'm not a partisan. I am an activist. It is not in the purview of Comrade Doe to structure the style of the debate because he wants it to appear like CDC versus UP. Yes, I supported President Boakai for the presidency in 2023, but the question is, am I a partisan of President Boakai's party? The answer is no. So my only caution would be, because a lot of professional people are monitoring the show has to be substantive in context, content, and quality. Our analysis must be analytical, scientific, and empirical, and not throwing jabs and invectives. Because at the end of the day, the show loses its taste. I would like to caution that because he's already attacking me. He doesn't even know my academic background. Talking about I've never been on an honor rolls list. That is completely misleading. It is a misrepresentation of the fact. Go to St. Mary Catholic School. Go to Donald Kynes Wesleyan Institute. Go to the University of Liberia, right on Capitol Hill. I graduated with a cum laude. The records are there. I'm not here to fly my own kit because we are here to discuss substantive issues across various sectors. I'm not here to defend the government. I'm not here to defend Unity Party. I am an activist. So my perspective would be from an activist perspective. Let's be clear. So I hope the moderators will handle the debate in a way that it doesn't become an emblem of white noise, as usually spewed or peddled by my opponent. That's the first question. So by way of introduction, I'm Martin K. and Kollie, a Liberian at birth. I currently reside in Europe. I am an airside activist. I started my education at the School of Christ. Later on went to Donald Kynes Wesleyan Institute in Blamotown, Lockingtown to be specific. I then furthered my education, secondary education, to the St. Mary Catholic High School in Douala. When I graduated from grade 12, which was in 2008, I decided to advance my pursuit for higher education. I landed at the University of Liberia, where I later became a student leader for over 20,000 students. I provided leadership, able leadership. The records are there. The students honor whom, we managed to have served know our record. So at the moment, I'm in the Netherlands. I acquired my master's here in the Netherlands at the Erasmus University. Currently, I'm doing Master of Law at the Tilbury University. So it is an honor, and let me extend my utmost greetings, compliments to all Liberians listening, whether you are in Liberia or you are abroad. I want to say hats off to you for taking off your time to monitor this interesting conversation. Of course, it is a debate because there are rules, there are regulations to govern our conversation. And I hope we can have a meaningful conversation that will contribute to the national discourse. Thank you very much for the opportunity, CEO, Dr. Buple and Diamond, as we discuss pertinent issues relating to the motherland.
Thank you very much, activist Martin Kollie. Thank you very much, Minister Isaac Doe. Dr. Buple, we're going to go through. We're having a conversation in the back by way of text messages. I'm going to come in first of all about our country, Liberia, which will be the first topic about what is Liberia and where are we today. My first question is open. Where are we today? How did we get here? We can explore the question, we can dig deeper into the question, but want to equally give you guys the time, sufficient time, to tell us where are we today as a country called Liberia, and as Liberian, and how did we get here? It may seem vague to some of you, but you guys can explore as you do.
Well, Stanton, thank you. And first off, to just clarify a few things, I'm sure you say we're on time. I hope we speak within time. And if anyone is talking more at the time, try to call the person.
No. As you do, you're quite correct. We are watching. Right now, it's 9:30 p.m. in Liberia. Everybody will have the exact 2 minutes. You're starting now.
And let's be clear. I posted on my Facebook page. Martin Cody said what I was saying about George Weah coming was crazy. He called me dumb. He called me blamado. So this discussion is about the people of our country, Liberia. It is not about someone claiming to be activist. I don't know that to be activist anyways. Martin Cody supported the government he still supports. He has reasons why he supported the government. It's not just about CDC or the government you support. It's actually about the workings of the government we supported on the lives of the people. So how do we have a debate void of telling us what we think will make Liberia better, or the Joseph Boyka that he supported and other Weah that are supported? It's not just about the individuals. It's about their policies on the country that affects the lives of the people. If we're talking about international relations, would you want me to talk about President Weah went somewhere and sat down with one president? I want to know the impact of that sitting on the country and on the people. That's what I'm interested in. Martin wanted a debate of what? Of activists? I'm not an activist. Martin Cody claimed to be in exile. I'm not in exile. I mean, he's the first Liberian to have been in exile from two governments. George Weah went to Kenya, he went to exile. He supported Joseph Boyka, he went to Kenya again, he's staying in exile. I'm not an activist. If he wants to do an activist thing, why am I here? First off, I was hesitant to even come. Why am I debating with Martin? Well, let's go to your question, Stanton. So this is about the issues of the country, it's about the people and how the policies and what we can recommend as people. How did we get here? Stanton, we got here by propaganda. We got here by lies. We got here by accusations. George Weah came to power. Of those things he assumed. When we got to power, we tried as a government to put Liberia on the path that we thought would bring prosperity in the future. The government was overpowered with propaganda, led by one of those, Martin Kollie. And he wants to run away from the record that he spilled out on Facebook and everywhere. We got here by no thing. By telling the people, 16 billion lost. George Weah took it. We have to discuss it. By telling the people, 25 million more up. Samuel to 80. We have to talk it. By telling the people, the country did worst on the George Weah, so he needed to move. We have to say how. So to answer it very simply, people said incompetence from George Weah, from the CDC government. But we got here on simple things. Accusations of lies, propaganda that misled our people, for which we can go down the line on those things we've achieved and where they are today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isaac Doe. You spoke for 4 minutes. We're going to give 4 minutes to activist Martin Cody. Then we're going to bring in Dr. Bupler to ask the next question. It's all yours, Martin Cody.
Okay, thank you, CEO. I think the question is more general. How did Liberia as a country get here? To answer your question, we must have an appreciation of our history. Because, like I said, I'm not here to discuss former President Weah and current President Boyka. Before they came to power, there were other leaders or presidents. So before we understand how we got here as a country, then we must begin from 1822. We were a colony. We transitioned to a Commonwealth. 1839. From a Commonwealth, we transitioned to a Republic. 1847. So we had the first Republic from 1847 up to 1980, when the coup took place. Then the Second Republic started in 1985 after a democratic election led to the ascendancy of the slain president, Samuel Kollie and Doe. So we have had ups and downs as a country. Our history is a history of good and bad. Yes, we became an independent nation. Yes, we have gained political freedom, but we had to go to war because of several factors. Amongst those factors is corruption. Successive regimes over time have demonstrated that semblance. Coming up to the regime of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former President George Weah, and now President Joseph Boakai, it is important to say that the Liberian people have demonstrated resilience to have gotten here. I have never seen any group of people so resilient like the Liberian people. With all of what we've been through, Civil War, before the Civil War, between 1989 up to 2003, we have had several other wars, including the twin battles and so forth. So our history is riddled by conflict. We are a post-conflict nation. In a post-conflict nation, this question of how we got here must be preceded by historical antecedent. So that was just a summary of our past. We are now in the present. Our present is the outcome of our past. If we don't understand our past, how can we understand our present and then prepare for the future? So we have a new government. The new government came into power as a result of the excesses of the past government. The people decided for themselves. They charted their own course in 2023 because we are a democratic country. The people deserve the right to decide who leads them as president, as vice president, as 103 representatives. The people can decide who they elect. Amongst the 5.2 million people, we can only elect 105 people. The president, the vice president, and 103 lawmakers. That's 105 human beings, Liberians, can be elected. So they decided that Martin Kollie, because of the performance of President Boakai's predecessor, the people decided to choose a regime change.
Thank you. I'm going to hold you there because you spoke for exactly 4 minutes. Let me do a follow-up on this, and then we will go. I want to do a takeaway. You say excesses. And I'm going to stay with you and give you another time, then Isaac will come in. Give me 3 to 5 excesses that brought us to this point. What making President Joseph Yema Boakai the president? Naming those excesses that caused the people of Liberia to reject George Manawia.
So when the people went to the polls in 2017, they did so with the conviction that their lives would have changed. They signed a social contract with former President Weah. When we elect you as president, Mr. Weah, we want our lives to be transformed. That was the social contract signed by the people and former President Weah. Fast forward, he was inaugurated in January 2018. He came to power on the basis of a pro-poor agenda, a pro-poor, and I want to put the pro-poor in quotation marks, right? So he said, when I come to power, I'm going to minimize or alleviate poverty. I'm going to give the government to the people. It will be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. When he came to power, he did completed the opposite. Under President Weah, look at the number of people who were sanctioned, for example, by the very US we call our traditional ally. Very close allies of President Weah were sanctioned. Former Minister Samuel Twe, former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Nathaniel McGill, the former port manager Bill Trawe, the former city mayor, Jefferson Koji. These are confidants of former President Weah. So as close as those sanctions were, the Liberian people thought it wise that giving another mandate of 6 years to President Weah, who have been a political mistake. The second thing is the issue of militarization. The government of former President George Weah was militarized through paramilitary gangs. Let me ask Dr. Bople, let me ask the CEO, even Brother Isaac Doe, when last has any Liberian heard about Zebra Unit, Sabu Unit, and all of the other paramilitary gangs? When last? From 2024 up to now. We don't have all those paramilitary gangs anymore. Those gangs literally wanted to kill some of us in our country. The records are there. The U.S. State Department report is available. On the very day of the graduation, they were unleashed on active.
We're gonna hold you to just 2. I'm sorry, because of time. We can come back to you. We'll continue. We have to give chance to Isaac Doe. You named 2: elevating poverty, sanction, and now you talk about militarization of youth in the country. That's exactly 3. But you can name more when we get back to you. Isaac, we'll give you time to respond, or you can add. You have 4 minutes, Isaac. Then that
well, we have come back to the same talking points. You've asked the brother to give you 5. He talked. He even didn't know exactly what he wanted to talk about. I would like to talk about what President we had achieved, but let me respond to him in my 4 minutes or whatever it is. He talked about sanction. Sanction is a political tool used by external forces that we don't control. What is important from people being imposing sanction is the current government now to show to the Liberian people that they weren't placed on sanction from a political perspective, but they were placed on sanction for real things that happened. Let's go down the list. Jefferson Koji killed the late Shalamusu. One of the reasons. Look in the camera and tell anyone that Jefferson Koji killed. Today, the government you support, the Rescue Rambo, is in power. The only one suspect who was in jail has been freed. Not just freed, but been appointed to lucrative positions in government. The question now comes to mind, Mr. Rescue Rambo, who then killed Shalamusu? Jefferson Koji was sanctioned. Number 2, Jefferson Koji had gun in his hands when he went to, was it District 14 or 16, one of the places. Come and ask yourself, did you see guns in Jefferson Koji's hands? Let's go to Justin Antillo, who came and said Jefferson Koji did this, did that, this, did. She came and even confessed that those were lies. So the issue of sanctions were being brought from the political lens. It is now a challenge upon your government, Rescue Rambo, to persecute those who were placed on sanctions for the reason why they were placed on sanctions. Failure to do that is just noise. You talk about poverty. Go to a World Bank website. Where was the poverty data when President Weah took over? Where did he leave it? From year over year, it had an average of over 1.32% people dropping from extreme poverty. How did that happen? But the programs and policies that came to being, what are they? Tuition-free policy. How did that help the poverty rating? When you were in UL, at least you were paying $5, $10, the minimum. An example. Those who went after you when President Weah took over, they saved that $5 and $10 you were paying. It helped the poverty rating. Let's go beyond just the talking. but on the issue of facts. This is not the Facebook time. Man, the question was, what were the excesses in real facts that took Georgia out of power? And I said, accusations, lies, propaganda, all around the place. I've listed a few. Killing of auditors was one of those things you used as your political tool. And now you will ask yourself, first off, there were only 2 auditors, the others weren't auditors. And those people were performing government audits. You claim to be so smart. How can you kill someone that is bringing money to you? How is that possible? Those
Thank you very much, Isaac.
Based on which president we are lost. And of course, as expected, you got nothing to show and say about it. Thank you
very much, Isaac. Thank you very much, Martin. While I still have the flow, you want to add anything in as a reporter or Isaac, because we have to go to that.
Let me say a few things. Initially, when I began the show, I said, I hope we could organize this show in a more substantive style, because a lot of people are monitoring. Vote of personal attacks, but it appears to me the show is shifting towards that angle, which is unfair to the listening audience. So I would like to re-emphasize to the 2 moderators, let's focus on the substantives, because at the end of the day, it adds value to the national discourse. I did not come to Danko in repetition. As he says, everything he says here today, every day. Right. So let's focus on what can we project, what can we propose as our own solutions to some of the problems. I'm not here to discuss CDC versus UP, or whether President Weah performed or whether President Bouaka performed or not. Let us put the debate in a counterfactual position. For example, what can we do as Liberians, as citizens of the country?
So Martin, we are coming there. I'm asking you because this is the thing. We asked for the Martin 1 million American. We asked for the exorcist, right? You did 3. It's okay to ask you how to respond. He did. I'm giving you the chance now to bring us on the track as to the poverty level that we are talking about today. Okay? We will go back to say, well, the social contract. You say the people sign usually with a precedent before bringing them to power. These 2 conversations are very, very important because it will bring us to your own point of discussion. So my question to you, Martin, before we move on, my question to you, poverty level as per the World Bank, where are we today? Or what would be some of your recommendation?
Okay, quickly. Liberia is an aid-dependent country, a poor country, very vulnerable to economic shock because of the structure of its economy. So basically, what we need to do in that country, CEO, is to invest first in human capital. We need to invest in human capital. If we must address the question of poverty, inequality, discrimination, hardship, and you can name the rest, we must be able to improve the living standard of our people. Look at the HDI, the Human Development Index. The living standard of Liberians is still very low in the midst of abundant natural resources. I just listened to the president. He explained to the US president that we conducted a geological survey, and that survey led to the discovery of new minerals. But the question is, how are we optimizing the discovery of these new minerals to the benefit of the ordinary people? And this should be the essence of the bottom line of the debate. Liberians are more concerned about how we can improve their lives and not how we can debate on the basis of political divide. We have to be clear here. The country needs direction. direction in pursuit of social economic prosperity. We have all we have, but why are we not maximizing what we have to benefit the ordinary people in West Point, Soniwen, Nikutan? They still don't have access to safe drinking water. They still don't have access to electricity. They still don't have access to quality education. Then the question is why? Even though we have all the resources that our president outlined, but why are we still poor? Is this not a paradox? You have all the resources. You have gold, you have diamond, you have bauxite. You just discovered more than 20 other minerals after 50 years. But why are you poor as a small country? Why are you poor? So to address the question of poverty in the country, CEO, the first thing we must do is to invest in human capital or manpower development. The second thing we must do, we must begin to diversify. Too often, when we talk about the economy, we focus on the export of iron ore, gold, rubber, and other traditional commodities. You don't hear people talking about even tourism. You don't hear people talking about agriculture. You don't hear people talking about energy. You don't hear people talking about an export-led economy that promotes.
So I'll hold you right there. I know that's where, I know we got a lot on our plate. We're going to hold you right there, Martin. We're going to go to Dr. Beauplan. You're going to close on this round.
I need to respond to that whole thing that man talking that.
No. I said, hold on 1 minute. Dr. Beauplan will bring you in.
Why you come to me that the Mevini
I say, you started with the question, Martin ended with the question, to be fair. Right. We're going to go to Dr. Beauplan, and then we're going to come back. You guys are here, you have to move time. Martin, just to add, we will not restrict the debate. This is a debate. We are not lecturing, but we can go walk and chew gum at the same time. So when we get to some of the hot spot, it will be the debate. And I hope you can accept it as based on our terms.
Now, say something quickly, 1 minute.
All right, so Martin,
this is now
Martin, hold that. We got your point. And actually, I'm with you on that. You know, this is more than just team and value or feel good. This is supposed to be about substance, because at the end of the day, the exchange, whether it's a debate, whether it's a vibrant discussion, is supposed to be able to help the national conversation and provide solutions. So that's where we are tonight. So I want to ask the two of you the same question. Okay, I want to ask the two of you the same question with a little. I'll ask it in a slightly different way, and yes, why? So, Martin, you made it clear that you are not partisan to UP, but you supported the president last election. Isaac Doe, you're clear, you're a seditious, you work at CDC, you're still an active member of the party. So I want to ask the two of you the same question. What are you doing now to help this government move Liberia forward so that 4.5 years later, the nation that you both love will be better? What are you doing now? Don't talk about your associate, talk about you. What are you doing now? Isaac Doe, you go first.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So before I go, AI was created to be used by him, but Manti allowed AI to use him. So once AI doesn't tell you something, you don't know about it. Unfortunately,
I said, what are you doing now?
Yeah, right. I'm asking the question.
We got plenty to talk about.
This is a debate Manti offered. Dr. Beauplan,
once we ask a question, we will give them the time to answer. Let me answer.
We want to bring solutions. Manikotti supported.
He's honored his time, Dr. Beauplan. We'll watch it.
He called himself Rescue Rambo. How me calling him Rescue Rambo means anything. Sometimes you ask the man the issue of poverty. He went all around the clock because he got no clue on what he's talking about. In 2020, the World Bank reported that poverty came down from about 63% to 59.7%. We left it there in 2023. As of now, where is it? It has taken up about 2 points more. That's where we are as a country. But all of the lies that we heard, the country getting better. And what you want to know, the poverty time of George Weah was measured by at least $2.75. Comparing that to the $1.50 it was measured by when President Bwaka was the vice president. But they better talk about other things. We are not coming here to do soup and prosa debate. We are talking about national issue that affects the life of the people. If that soup and prosa, let's go to UL Palabaho. I have passed that level long time. But listen, my brother, as a country, you ask, we got political differences. That's why we associate ourselves with political parties. Why it is true I should be there to ensure my country improves, it is incumbent upon the smartness, so-called, quote-unquote, from Mountain, that Liberia now will change because they said George Weah did not do it. What I will do for my country, though, is to have my political party rebranded with good argument of policies that will improve in the future. What do I do? Listen, we were in government 6 years. We had revenue so small as it was. How do we expand the revenue envelope when we come to power without creating additional tax burden on the people like United Party is doing right now? I will tell them, listen, we first need to tap into the existing resource capability of our country, the ones that are already there. How do we tap into those to expand? The only thing you need to run a country is money.
Okay, so Isaac, let me hold you. Isaac, please, let me hold you. I got to inject. I asked a direct question.
About the government, and I'm not going for the
government.
No,
not about the government. No, not about the government. I asked, what is Isaac Doe, the Liberian citizen and professional, doing now in the current to help our government move our nation that we all love forward so that 4.5 years later, it will be better. If you can just answer that question, I would appreciate it.
I am saying I did not support the United Party. Martin Kollie did. He should be telling us what he's doing.
What are you doing now? What are you doing now?
There's not an argument between you and I. When you ask me, let me answer. I am telling you what I will do for my political party.
I didn't ask what you will do. I asked what are you doing. If you're not doing anything at this minute,
okay, I'm working in America. This is not a debate between you and I. You asked me.
It's not a debate, but I'm moderating. I'm trying to keep us focused on the question that I asked.
You know,
but it's okay.
That's okay. We will give Isaac and Martin a chance to answer. Yeah, the Liberian people will be the one to decide. And if the other thing, let's ask the question. Isaac will give you one minute.
Thank you. So again, Dr. Brooklyn, what I'm doing is to be here today and talk. Keep putting the government in check.
Okay.
But when it comes to the forward march of our country, I believe in a political ideology, and my work right there is to ensure they get on policy base. I'm giving you one policy, what I will do to make Liberia better. How do we expand the revenue envelope without additional tax burden on the people? The solution is that tap into our already existing capability in revenue. And I was bringing it down for you, and you interrupted me. One, I'll give you a typical example. You have 20 houses in Liberia. Every house is supposed to pay $5 in real estate tax. Today, you only have 5 houses paying. How do we expand that 5 houses for at least 10 or 15 houses to pay so that we get more money instead of bringing on $5 addition to the 5 houses that are already paying? These are the policy discussions I will be having. As far as the government is concerned, Martin Kollie should be telling what he has been telling President Boakai to change our country, not me.
All right, thank you, Isaac. All right, Martin, I want to ask the same question, and I want to try to rephrase my question with a degree of specificity, because I don't want to. I'm not asking about what you will do where you in a position tomorrow. I'm asking if there's anything you are doing now that you consider helpful to the current reality of Liberia, so that 4.5 years later, we are in a better place. Could you respond to that, please? What Martin Kollie doing now?
Thanks, Dr. Pope. And I think the question is that right. It is just a matter of deconstruction. I think there where he's lapsed. But it is up to him. I'm going to answer the question as you said it. The question is in the present progressive form and not future, not what I will do, what I'm doing now. So as an exile Liberian activist, I'm not only interested in criticizing the government or politicians from the opposition, I'm also interested in finding solutions. So at the moment, I operate and own a foundation, a charity foundation called Martin K. and Kollie Foundation, to buttress government's effort in terms of youth development, youth empowerment. We have over 18 students across different tertiary institutions, including AMEU, UMU, University of Liberia, AMEZU, and so forth. Recently, we provided scholarship opportunities for 40 Liberians to develop themselves, equipped in different professional skills at GoNet. Before the WIEC exams in Liberia, we organized preparatory classes for 1 month, intensive preparatory classes for 12th graders. We are talking about hundreds of them, so we are making interventions in different areas besides advocacy. I don't even want to talk about advocacy. We've exposed dozens of cases and incidents of corruption. Today, some of the people are suspended. And I said right here in exile, carry out the investigation, do the research, provide evidence, preponderance of evidence. The government itself can be convinced beyond all reasonable doubt that yes, indeed, an act of corruption took place. I gave you one instance. We saved the government over 40 million relative to the yellow machine scandal. So we've been doing a lot. We are doing a lot because we love our people. It is not just about criticizing the government. It is not just about identifying the problems. At the end of the day, our people ask us every day, what next? What can we do to address their socio-economic problems? So I'm not only advocating for them, I'm not only fighting for them through public accountability and other means, but I'm also making direct impact, intervention in their lives. And I just name a few. As a matter of fact, we will be providing 300,000. We've already raised the money through the foundation for 100 Liberians to go.
300,000 US dollars?
Liberian dollars.
Oh, Liberian dollars. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So we have raised 300,000 Liberian dollars. 100 Liberians that have never dreamed of acquiring tertiary education or higher education will now have an opportunity to write the entrance of the state-run university.
Let me hold you right there, Martin. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Martin, because we got to run with time. We got a lot to cover. You brought in education. Let's start from education. One, what's your view on the present University of Liberia, Martin Kollie?
Thank you. CEO, I am an alumnus of the University of Liberia. I understand the terrain, but I don't only want to speak about the situation at the University of Liberia only, because there are other public and private institutions that are also challenged. Regardless of the fact that some of these institutions are private, but people who attend them are also Liberians. I can remember during the administration of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, almost all private universities were subsidized. These are difficult times, and I will acknowledge the government to reintroduce such a policy, because private universities are also challenged. Likewise, the University of Liberia. The University of Liberia is a state-run university. If you look at the charter that created the University of Liberia, the government of the day is on a statutory obligation to finance the university. When I was at the university as a student leader, we developed a master plan. That's one of my contributions to the university and the larger society. The master plan said to finance the University of Liberia to a place where we offer quality. Quality. I'm not just talking about education, because education is not quantitative. It's qualitative in the context of economics. Therefore, emphasis placed on quality. Quality. To provide quality education at the state-run university, because the University of Liberia is not just only the Capitol Hill campus. There are 4 other campuses. You got Capitol Hill campus, you got Fendia, you got the medical school, and you got St. J. 4 campuses. To finance those 4 campuses, you need at least 45 million United States dollars. For God's sake, CEO, let's do a comparative analysis. Right across the road on Capitol Hill, opposite the University of Liberia, you have the legislature. For the last 24 months, we've spent over 108 million on a legislature of just 103 persons. The University of Liberia has over 20,000 persons, Liberians, but we cannot even spend 35 million. So where is the equity? Where is the distribution?
Let me interrupt you. We got to be fast. I beg you. We are talking about the University of Liberia. What's the budget today for the University of Liberia, Martin?
So the budget is hovering around 35 million.
Which is enough.
Yeah, and quite frankly, the government of President Weah did well to increase it. I must admit, it has increased. Unlike
so let's take it slow, Martin. The budget was increased under President Weah. Is it more than what President Weah put in as of today?
The budget now under President Bouaka is more than what was under President Weah, former President Weah.
We had an increase in the budget under President Weah, and yet and still, do you believe that under President Weah, we have this free YA, we have the free tuition when it comes to the University of Liberia?
Now, let me address this issue of the free tuition, right? I'm not trying to be dismissive of the effort made by former President Weah relative to tuition-free education. The idea is actually good. He had good intent. However, it was not well thought of or researched. I was a student leader at that time. The pronouncement to provide tuition-free education at the University of Liberia was never consultative and coordinative. Now, at the University of Liberia, there are different structures, or there are different strata, if you may like, in terms of administration and leadership. You have the administration, you have the board of trustees, you have the UL council, and you have different departments and colleges, heads of colleges. So that's how the university runs, and the president is the visitor to the university. So before a policy is announced, there must be broad-based consultation. Are you aware that the former president, Dr. Ophelia Weeks, was never aware when the president announced a tuition-free education? She even said that at a Senate hearing in Monrovia. So how can you be announcing a tuition-free education and the president of the university is unaware?
Given that, was it helpful to the university?
Quite frankly, the pronouncement was premature. And do you know that it is affecting the university right now?
No. I'm not saying the announcement. I'm saying, given what you said, whether the president was aware, she wasn't. Was the tuition-free policy helpful to the University of Liberia? 1. 2, was the free WAEC helpful to the people of Liberia?
Okay, I'm going to answer the first question in 2 different dimensions. Yes, no. So let me start with the yes. You know, a lot of the students on the campuses of the University of Liberia are challenged economically. They do not have the resources to finance their education. So any policy aimed at providing tuition-free education is good. However, we should also look at the gap that has been created, the financial gap, because the tuition that was coming in was an inflow to the University of Liberia. They used that money for operational purposes. But now that money is not coming in because nobody is paying tuition. And most often, I can tell you this, you can even ask authorities at the university under the administration of former President Weah. They were not taking pay. Some of the teachers were not taking pay. They could not paint the building. They could not provide basic necessities. So
the policy was good, but the implementation was bad. I said, hold on 1 minute, I will come to you, please.
So quickly, CEO. Free tuition policy in a poor country like Liberia is a good idea, but it must be well thought of. It must be researched. There must be evidence. You know, anything we do today, there must be scientific evidence.
What about the wire? What about the free wire tuition? The free wire tuition?
I'm coming to wire quickly. Let me just conclude my thought on this. Before you roll out a public policy, there are processes to satisfy, right? You don't just announce. That's knee-jerk announcement.
We understand that. Let's move with this right quick. Free wire tuition, free wire fees. Let's talk about it.
But at the time President Weah was leaving office, the government was owing WIEC. It had to be the government of President Weah to settle that debt. So again,
it had to be the president, the government of President Bouaka.
Sorry?
The government of President Bouaka to settle the debt. Now we are.
The government of President Bouaka had to settle that debt. So there was debt left behind by the former. But what's the policy, a good policy? Free wire tuition. I mean, to pay for the wire fees. Was it a good policy from the past government? You know, quite frankly, everything is not free. What we should be discussing is how we put money in our people's pocket to pay for these services. And to put money in our people's pocket, CEO, they need jobs.
So you disagree. The policy wasn't a good policy, right?
The policy was premature in terms of announcement.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you my last question. Asa Okami. Is this government still carrying on such policy under the Joseph Imam Barker government?
Oh, certainly. The policy is still there, but financially, to finance such a policy is challenging because the government has several other priorities. So
we do have free tuition under President Barker. We still have free tuition for university, and we got free wire. Is that true?
Don't get me wrong, CEO. I'm not saying these are not good policies. I'm saying let's look at the downside, right? So now you have the policy. Are you aware at the University of Liberia registration fees have increased to cover some of the gaps that were created as a result of the knee-jerk pronouncement?
Thank you. That hold you right there. I'm going to bring in Isaac Doe on this education mountain. Thank you very much for giving sufficient time. Isaac Doe on education, free wire, and that of the free tuition. Talk to us.
When Martin was in UL, he did not go and say, "Oh, I don't like the policy, so I'm coming to pay school fees." He didn't go there. He benefited from it.
No, I did not.
When he was there, he didn't go there. He didn't go there and say, "No, the policy is bad, so I'm coming to pay." But listen, the failure of the Unity Party government to bring about any reform in the education sector is the reason why you heard Mountain recounted problems upon problems. Start up. We did not come on the show to say, "Oh, the school in Sinje don't get money." We know they don't have money. We didn't come on the show to say the school in Grand Crew challenged. We know they are challenged. Because Rescue Rambo can show anything their government has done. So he went back to recount all of the problems we know. And that's the reason why he said, "You know what, the show should not be about government, it be about activists." I'm not one. So the issue here is you support the Unity Party. You called yourself Rescue Rambo. You talked for more than 30 minutes and you said nothing. Stanton, you asked the question rightly. When Rescue Rambo was all on Facebook, he said President Bouaka was coming to change it. As we speak today, the government is still carrying on the policy from the same man that Martin Joseph failed. You say, "Why the school in Sinje get 30 million? Do you want President Bouaka number so I can send it to you for you to call him?" You supported him. You should be telling us why they get 30 million. Then you asking us? Who you want us to ask? I will call President Trump and ask him if the school get money. Martin, we need solution based, not the same problem that we know exists. We need a solution. And apparently, Martin does not know the history of the free tuition. Martin, your colleague, Mao, one of the student leaders, was the architect of that. He had a meeting with President Weah, and he brought the issue of tuition free. He talked about how the students at the University of Liberia were facing tough financial times. President Weah listened. He had cabinet meetings. They brought it on the table. They announced tuition free. You know what that did? Before the tuition free policy was announced, the enrollment at the University of Liberia was way below 10,000. After it was announced, it went hitting close to 20,000. Martin, you should be proud of that, right? You are on Facebook all around the place like. You should be proud of that. And you say the policy was announced, it just came. No, Mao, your colleague, was actually the person. Martin, when you attended the University of Liberia, you used to stand in long lines under the heat from Stella Maris all the way to UL to register. When President Weah got there, he made the process simple. You did not need to stay in line no more. He created an online version that helped students register smoothly. Up to today, the only thing we have seen from the University of Liberia since President Bouakai came to power has been protest upon protest from SUP to PROSA. No any reform policy. The only thing the government is living on today are all of those things left behind. You claim, George, we have failed. One who have thought, Martin, that you will be dismantling every policy initiated by President Weah because he failed. I thought this debate was about the issues and not the problems that we know. We know Liberians suffering. Don't come and tell us why Liberians suffering, simply because we know. What is the government rescue ramble that you supported doing to change it? The educational sector, where are we? Of recent, the broadcast. And
let's go you right there. Let Martin answer that question. We got to go to the next one. I say, I'm begging you, Martin.
Yeah, no, Martin,
Martin, what is your contribution now as to what President Bouakai government would do to change these field policies?
And already came in broken, CEO.
No, I'm asking you, Martin. You heard Minister Doe question. What are some of your recommendations to this government as to the field policy on wide fee and free tuition at the university?
So, straight up, let's face it. Do we have the fiscal space to finance tuition-free education? To a certain extent, yes. But our national priorities are more, and these priorities are competing. So we have energy crisis, we have education crisis, water crisis, we have issues of bread and butter, unemployment. So the issues are more, and the government has a very tight fiscal space to finance all of the programs and projects. The other day I was on this network, I spoke about the need to rationalize national expenditure. We have to prioritize in the midst of scarce resources. What we do as a country is to prioritize. You don't do everything at once. So, for example, if we want to achieve energy efficiency, or if we want to achieve quality education, if we want to achieve roads, do we have the resources to do everything? No. So the government is challenged. Hence, we have to even beg or borrow. Under the past regime, our debt stock was almost 2.4 billion. The past regime left it at 2.3 billion United States dollars. So this government met a whole big mess. I want to be very fair, because if you look at what this government met, right, we must hold them on the basis of their performance and on the basis of what they met. So relative to some of the proposals in the area of education, I would suggest, CEO, because of limited resources, we begin to invest in TVET, technical vocational education and training. Because if you look at the demography of the country right now, Liberia has a youthful population.
I'm going to hold you. I got to bring it down to both players. You used the word TVET. Isaac Doe was Deputy Minister of Youth and Sport. They were running the TVET program. You followed that religiously. You calling for TVET. What happened to the first TVET, Martin? Honor Minister Isaac Doe.
So So Minister Isaac Doe is here. He's going to account for his stewardship. I'm not going to speak for him. But I was saying, CEO, a lot of people are coming out of high schools, right? We need to tailor education in a way that it meets the demand of the labor market. What does the labor market need? What does the labor market need right now? The labor market needs people who have hands-on practical knowledge in different areas, whether carpentry, electricity, arts and drafts, and different disciplines in the area of TVET. That's what our country really needs. That's why our country.
We had that before, Martin. We had that before. I mean, I say you can ask a question and you guys are debating. So I just want to know, because you still surrounding yourself with TVET. But I do believe that with the UN partners, Onazoga Winston, Isaac Doe, Minister of Youth and Sport, we had TVET. Millions of dollars went into TVET, and operation went into TVET. Today, we still have TVET, Martin. That's why I want to give you the chance to answer us. Some of the TVET program fell right in the lap of Abdullah Kamara when he was in government, but working along with LTA. And today, he's in trouble. Some of the TVET program, the 10,000 youth, when President Baka spoke about youth training on computer and cybersecurity. Those are some of the different TVET programs that came into being. We know our brother, Councillor Cole, Bangalore, they got so many programs lined up at the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Are we doing this thing under this government today? Differently from George Banner we are.
So, CEO, the thing is, we have MVTC, which is good, and I think MVTC now needs to transition to a polytechnic. Look at the budget of the MVTC. It's very low. It was low before, it is still low. I'm not going to blame any leadership for this. All I'm going to say is, let's invest intentionally in TVET, because these programs will help to build our country, to reconstruct our country. We need men and women of skills, basic skills in different areas. Because we're talking about infrastructure development, for example. We're talking about the aviation sector. We need trained people. We're talking about the issue of construction.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you very much, Martin. That the Bobla come in. I beg you, let give Isaac Doe work with the TVET Administrator of Youth and Sport. He was directly involved as Deputy Minister. We will have to give him a chance, and Dr. Bobla will come in. Our next conversation topic will be corruption in the country. How can we fix that? It will be the healthcare system. Martin, you experienced something today when you came knocking on our door about the lady that passed away. We hope her family remains strong. You supported the idea, raised money, took her to Ghana. Unfortunately, she passed away. We want to talk about our healthcare system. We want to talk about where we are today. When Stan is start calling for the major protests in the country. Then we'll close up with President Joseph Yema Boakai visit to the United States. I hope it will be sufficient enough to serve our audience. I say you have your 2 minutes on TVET.
Yeah, thank you. You know, Martin Kollie posted that if we came on the debate and stay on under 20 minutes, then he should walk from Europe to Africa. Martin, I hope you ready to walk because I'm still here standing. Martin, you see how to defend lies, huh? When you lie the whole day and people just go like your post, share it to come now and defend those lies. It's so hard, Martin. Let me first correct you. President Weah did not leave no debt for WAEC. The tuition payment for WAEC sitting were all paid. The only debt that was there was debt belonging to the headquarters in Nigeria. That was what your government paid. That debt, though, came from 30 years ago. The head for WAEC clarified that on an OKFM interview. Maybe you need a computer to be looking at it. Probably without the computer, you can't do good. You know, you coming back to TVET. The same thing making me say weak on the show. Martin, you supported President Bwaka's government. You named yourself Rescue Rambo. There were reasons why you supported President Bwaka. Those are the reasons we want to hear now. And how are they impacting the lives of the people? We need skills worker in Liberia. Yes, Martin, we know we need skills worker. What is your government, Rescue Rambo, your government, what are they doing to bring skilled worker? They said they were training 10,000 youth in RCT, 10 days. Your government. The only thing we know about the government are 10,000 youth for 10 days. Martin, you can go do computer and go for 10 days and know how to even turn computer on. These are the lies that brought the government to power. Let me tell you why personally we are government dead. If you were to go to Meriden County today, we'll get a Cape Verde, a school that was financed by the European Union. President Weah's policy was that every county should have at least one TVET institution. And we started a model for that. Kakata got one. Banga got one. Bikena got one. In addition to that, we negotiated with the EU to establish an how you call this thing? A hospitality center right by the SKD. Right now, if you go there, you will see it being built. And what is the essence of that? What was our thinking? If students left BTU or the trade school that is by the ministry, we don't want them to just go. We want them to have real life experience in things that they learned. So we built that center. We started the building of it to ensure students from there can benefit from it. We went ahead and partnered with foreign firms and other people where we sent some of our brightest overseas to learn things in plumbing, in electrician, heavy-duty mechanic. They came back and enhanced the capability at MVTC. Those were the workings of the President Weah government. Today, you can tell anything your government do. You're only telling us what we need. Who taught you that we don't need skills in our country? We need skills in our country. We know. Did you vote for President Bwaka or support him to actually tell us what we need, brother? I think the debate looking like a waste of energy because I'm seeing that Martin didn't come with anything prepared at all. I'm tired of discussing what the country, the problems. I know they are there. Martin, these are the things the government achieved. That's why we argue, though, that although President Weah's government was not perfect, but the work that we did in that country can be compared to none. The nights that we stayed in offices.
Thank you.
Compared to none. If
that's
on this debate, I will continuously bring you to the point that you, Rescue Rambo, supported President Bwaka. Please start telling us about the solutions and not the problems that we know. Those problems exist. We know they do. We need the solutions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bopler. Let's get to you again, guys. We'll talk about healthcare, corruption, good governance, and the president trip to the United States. Dr. Bopler.
Can I get quickly?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Bopler, please. It will be an honor for Martin to at least come on with 1 minute, please. Martin?
All right, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead, Martin.
Now, this is important since we are discussing education. A good measurement of the both administrations will be the budget, right? So under the CDC, if my colleague across the table can show me at any point in time where CDC even budgeted or allocated almost 120 million for the education sector, then his argument will be valid. 2024 fiscal year, under President Joseph Boakai, 119 million United States dollars for education. I'm not here to defend government, but we should be able to speak truth to power based on facts, research, and evidence. Our people deserve to know the truth, Isaac, and not rhetoric. Every time you come on this set, you say just the same thing, cliche. The people are tired. Hearing one thing over and over. You have called my name more than 1,000 times. This is not called for. Let's focus on the substance. I'm just giving you just a simple metric if you want to do a fair analysis of who invested more. And this is President Bwaka's second year. He hasn't gone to even year 3, year 4, and year 5. But across the 6 years of your administration, give me a single instance of a budget year where you even appropriated, say, 110 million or up to 118 million for education in that country. So you cannot bring a facade to the debate, to the discourse, because a lot of people are listening. So I just wanted to say this. If we want to measure both administrations, then we should revert to the national financial instrument of the country, which is the budget. If we want to really be fair and evidential or empirical in our analysis, Isaac, we cannot be explaining Sparta's story. This is not a theater for comic display. Thank you, CEO.
All right, so
we're going to get the current budget. They allow Dr. Bopler to speak. We're going to show you the budget from 2021, 2022, 2023 to that of 2024 and today. Dr. Bopler, come in while we upload the budget, sir.
All right, thank you, CEO. So, it's very easy for those of us who are fortunate, who are blessed, who have means, to talk about what's happening in the country and list things that when you really measure them, they don't equate to improvement in the lives of people. So I always like to keep it at the level of Mayonowe and Mapu so we can measure it and see appreciably how we've done better. So Martin, I want to start with you. You do a lot of investigative journalism. You're an advocate, and you help uncover a lot of important information. One of the things that still happens today, that happened in George Weah government, and it's not happening Joe Barker government, maybe not to the same measure, is the disproportionate allocation of resources to the upper echelon of the government. In other words, a lot of the current expenses are for the VIPs, the legislature, the ministers, the deputy, the director general. And always we hear there's inadequate at the bottom for education, for healthcare, such that our public hospital are almost like private because you pay for everything. But if we shift it in allocating the resources and pay less at the top and a lot more at the bottom, we get better results. So let me ask you, because I've been following you in all of the stuff you do, why haven't you made a major advocacy about, because I know it's a tough issue, because you got to start with legislature, the people enjoying that thing, nobody won't pass any kind of law to reduce their benefits. Why haven't you done that? And would you consider doing that so that we can challenge the status quo to reallocate so that more resources come for healthcare and education and sanitation at the lower level so that we build a stronger workforce and a better country? What says you, Martin?
Thank you, Dr. Bopler. This is a very important question because it boils down to the issues of inequality, poverty, discrimination, resource mismanagement, misallocation, and so forth. Probably you may not have followed last year. In fact, this was one of the issues I consistently raised: the redistribution of our financial resources through the national budget. We need to reallocate and redistribute. Like you rightly said, if you look at the VIPs, they are consuming almost everything. Honor former President Weah, honor former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and now honor President Boakai. The VIPs, the high, the big shots, they are consuming just everything. Let's use the legislature as a case study. From the beginning of this conversation, I intimated that the legislature alone in the last 24 months has consumed or spent over 108 million. The question is for what, Dr. Bopler? How can you spend 17 million just to have meeting, legislative hearings? Does that make sense? When your people are poor, Liberia is the 8th poorest country in the world. Unemployment rate is above 90%, inclusive of vulnerable employment. The point I'm making, Dr. Bopler, is We have meager resources, but we are not spending those meager resources rationally. The need to rationalize national expenditure cannot be overemphasized, especially through the budget, because everything begins and ends with the budget. For you to spend on education, it has to be the budget, energy budget, access to safe drinking water budget, housing facility budget, road budget. So even though we have off-spending, off budget expenditure, but everybody looks up to the budget. The 5.2 million people look up to the budget. So the question is, how are we distributing the cake? Is the cake being fairly distributed, equitably distributed? If you ask me that question from a budget, from a government budget perspective, I would say no. I would say no. And how we need to do it, we proposed the other day that we need to bring everybody down to 5K. Everybody, regardless of who you are, whether you are minister, whether you are head of a corporate entity, say SOE, for example, state-owned enterprise, everybody must come. The ceiling max must be 5K in allowances, whatever, salary, benefits, everything must be capped. So we must cap wage at 5K for the lawmakers, everybody. I give you an example. A lawmaker at the moment is being paid over 9,000 United States dollars. 9,000. When a public school teacher doing even more work, because lawmakers go to work Tuesdays, Thursdays, practically and technically in the context of legislative politics. Tuesdays, Thursdays are business days. The rest of the other days, though they can have meetings at different points, but those are the 2 working days according to the internal laws or internal rules of the legislature. So the point I'm making is, why are we giving a lawmaker overnight? Are you aware, Dr. Bobler, that we are paying the yard boys over 250?
I'm aware that we are misusing the public resources and that it is excessively used at the top.
Right.
I'm aware of that.
So the point we are making is, we gave them over 9,000, for example, as salary, right? We gave them money for constituency visit. We gave them money for furniture. We gave them 45,000 for car. We gave them money for foreign and domestic travel. We gave them money for DSA. We gave them money even to buy newspaper. It is in the budget. Why are we spending? We gave them money for entertainment and their generator at their homes. Does that make sense? Let's be honest.
Right. So before your time is up, I want to just redirect my question. So then you're saying that you are going to put resource allocation at the top of your advocacy agenda to help this government to help those at the bottom more than they currently are doing. You're saying that, right? You're willing to do that. You're going to do that.
Oh, certainly. In fact, I'm already doing that, because the thing is, as I speak to you, we have some payrolls in our possession. And if you look at the wages of civil servants, right, some of them even make below $150. This is not fair. If the civil servant or someone who works at Ministry of Finance or Public Works in Central Monrovia, if that person lives, for example, Brownsville, how can $150 even sustain that person? Transportation, especially when we have an inflation rate of above 8%. So you also deduct that, right? Then deduct transportation. Say, for example, you're paying $400 to go, $400 to come. That's $800 every day. Times that by say 24 days or 23 days.
Thank you.
Right?
Okay.
So,
all right. Thank you, Martin. Isaac. Thank you, Martin. Isaac Doe.
You know what? It's just hard to be here. So
Isaac, can you let Dr. Bobler just paraphrase this question to you, please?
Oh, I thought it was the same question. Okay.
No. Let me ask the question. The same thing, but it's phrased differently because of both of your backgrounds. Okay, so you had the privilege, Isaac, to serve in the high level in President Weah's government as a deputy minister. You also serve in a strategic agency. I call it strategic because to make sure youth and sport, and we are youth for population, so it's strategic. And you came with a very popular president, and so there were many of us who were extremely hopeful that this president, having come from the lower echelons and rose up, in a very impressive way to sports and all of that, now into politics, that he will actually understand the plight and the challenges of ordinary people, and that will be his priority. And then 6 years later, the hospital was still expensive, even public hospital. Schools were not measurably improved. Unemployment was still high. What would you say, Isaac, to those who say that you and your government missed a glorious opportunity to be heroes of the people, because when you got there, you lost your way and it was business as usual? What would you say to those people who, after 6 years, they said, man, you just blew a great opportunity? And I think we saw some of that in the election. A lot of the vote was not for vote, it was against vote. It was protest vote. What would you say to those people having served for 6 years and now you find yourself where you are?
Well, your question long, but no problem.
No,
so
the last part is the question.
Yeah,
the first part is qualifying it, it for context. Listen now, so you can be able to answer. The first part, I'm qualifying.
You got the question, Dr. Brooklyn. Let's make progress, Dr. Brooklyn.
Dr. Brooklyn, I will not go forward without educating Martin. All day on Facebook, he do. I will not go forward without educating him. So, Martin, the way they do projection in budget.
No, Isaac,
wait, no, I'm trying to answer. You can answer for 15 minutes. I can talk. Wait, let me talk, my brother, please. This is not Facebook. Wait. So when you're doing projection in budget, you look at the changes from one aspect and how it affects the changes in another aspect. What do I mean? If the national budget was, say, 600 million in 2023, and it moves up to 800 million in 2024, that will be a percentage change of the budget somewhere between there. What you want to do is to take that percentage change and compare it with the percentage changes in the expenditure side. Then you can come to boast about it. Monday, in 2023, the budget for the University of Liberia under George Weah last term was 18.something million. The out term came at 30 million. That's almost double what President Weah and the legislature budgeted. You know what it tells you? That the government invested in education more than double as budgeted. In 2024, when the budget increased to almost 900 million, coming from 700 million, you could only add a mere 3 million at the budget at the University of Liberia's budget. But they don't talk about education yet. Who invested in education? Man, we took the passing rate of WAEC from about 28 to 30% to almost 80%. You know what that happened? President, we have brought education as a right for the people and not a privilege for the few. You know what he did? He said, Grandma, go and sell a little bit about in the market. Don't worry about WAEC fees. I will pay the WAEC fee for you. Just study and pass. We need practical solutions to Liberia's problem. You want to talk about when budget went to 115? These are the realities, Martin. You can go to your budget. So, my brother, education investment, you cannot compare President Boakai to President Weah based on what each person had as their budget line to what you have. As a matter of fact, lest you forget, when they went for recasting of the budget, they reduced University of Liberia budget instead of increasing it. So let me go to Dr. Bropla's question. Dr. Bropla, you said George Weah came, he was a poor man, he knows the people, why he lost confidence. Again, I said it, unless I should repeat it again. I will never tell you that President Weah's government was perfect. Oh no. We had challenges, we had problems. But what I would proudly tell you though, is that we put our minds and our brains together to ensure we did something. Those things were overpowered by propagandas and lies. I've listed them. I can go back. No, we have not talked about the economy. Those are things that affect the people. We have not talked about international relations. It is not about President Barack coming and Donald Trump say he can speak English. President Weah went out of the country and came back and brought back to the hospital 100 bedroom. We need practical solution that helps the lives of the people. We weren't complaining all around the place. We were finding solutions, and the solutions are evidenced by what is written. Yes, we could have done more, but we did do what this government cannot do. President Weah changed the entire structure of the Liberia government. I wouldn't say young people. I was 29, 30 when I got in government as deputy minister. Before President Weah, yes, you had young people in government, but you could count 1, 2, 3, and that's all. When President Weah came, man, he brought capable young people to serve at every level of the government. That is change for a country.
I said, thank you.
Being appointed to government back then was not on the basis of who knew your father.
I said, no, thank you very much. Folks, we want to say thank you.
Solutions we needed for our country.
I said, no, thank you very much.
We are brought.
Again, I said, no, thank you very much. Martin, we'll hear from you. While we're on education, folks, we want to say thank you for continuing to share the show. I mean, and invite everyone. We are getting to the juice. Martin, let me ask you, the current education system, when you include WIC, when you include university free education, grade 8 today, is it better today than under the past regime?
Oh, certainly, I would say yes. And the reason why I would say yes is based on the fact that more investment has gone to the sector than before. I just told you that the current budget for education in Liberia is 119 million plus. Education needs financing. You cannot operate a school without money. You cannot provide quality education without money. So you need money. The government of President Wakai has invested more in education. What does this say to you? When you put more money, you get more result. You get more result, 119 million for the education sector. That's a big jump. And we must commend the government for that. Are there other...
Okay. Answer your comment. I'll say let Martin finish your comment, please.
So the point I'm making is, if we want to measure the government's contribution to education, the best and empirical evidence to use is the budget. The budget is available. We can put it up and do a comparison.
So let me hold you there. You agree that President Joseph Yema Barker government, when it comes to education, he's doing better than,
of course. And quickly, CEO, before I lay my thought on this, I listened to Isaac talking about hiring of qualified young people under former President Weah. Was Alvin Wisse qualified? Was Jefferson Koji qualified? Was Sekou Kalasco qualified? A lot of them even got the job before graduating from universities, quote unquote. Is that what you call qualification and capability? Probably the meaning of those dictions or words may be different in your own dictionary, but the facts are there, the records are there. They cannot be disputed. They are incontestable.
So your definition of qualification is education, going to school? Is that what you mean?
Oh, education is about the credentials you've obtained. Okay. It's different.
So let me hold you there. I want to go back. I want to ask Isaac Doe on the reverse end. I beg you, Martin. Isaac Doe, you will answer. Isaac Doe, wait. Isaac Doe, I beg you, you will answer. He said this government, the President Joseph Yema Barker government, is doing extremely exceptionally well when it comes to education compared to your government, George Manasseh government. What say you?
Stand on. I actually long time. Martin, take your computer. Be checking on the place, man. I'm not sure you're ready prepared for this. But Martin, the facts and evidence are all around here. Martin, a budget that projects is not something you boast about. You boast about the outcome, the actual. If somebody told you, Martin, I'll give you $100, don't be happy. If the person ended up giving you $50, that $50 you should be happy for. Martin, these are small little book you can learn from K1. Martin, in 2023, President Weah spent about $98 million on education. What he actually spent, not what he said I will spend. In 2024, President Buhari spent $86 million. Martin, these are facts. We came on here to provide.
I said, let me hold you, Martin. You want to dispute that, Martin?
So basically, probably he didn't comprehend what I said.
No, we no.
I say, I beg you, we'll give Martin a chance. We'll come back to you. You were speaking. Go ahead, Martin.
Can you put the 2025 approved budget? Isaac doesn't understand the difference between projection and approved budget. So let me explain it. Now, there are three different types of budget. You got budget, you got balanced budget, you got surplus budget, and you got deficit budget. So for example, the proposed budget was approved for 2025. We are hovering around 850 million. That was approved. Before that, the proposed was below 850 million. The legislature ratified the budget at 850 million, and it was signed into law by the president. That is different from projection. When you approve a budget, that's not projection. It is what you have approved to spend. So when your approved expenditure exceeds, right? When your approved expenditure exceeds the revenue raised, right? Then that's deficit. But when the revenue raised exceeds your approved expenditure, then that's surplus. When the both are at an equilibrium, that's balanced budget. Howbeit, it is good for us to break these things down for Isaac to understand. He doesn't understand what is projection, what is approved expenditure. You are misrepresenting everything. And it is
okay, so let me see if you can help me understand. Then Isaac will come and we got to move on. This education thing is important. Budget, projection, budget. For example, let me put this up for our folks that follow us. Mountain, budget actual, budget 2024, estimated outcomes, budget, projection. Now, explain this thing again. Let's hear you. For example, this is the University of Liberia. The year 2023 budget actual. It's right there. Budget. Help us. Explain it to me, Martin.
Basically, in government budgeting, when you talk about outturn, it's what you spend at the end of the day or at the end of the budget year. So we run a calendar budget year, right? So for example, CEO, if you have budgeted $100, right? You go to the market, right? And you want to buy an umbrella, but the umbrella is sold for $150. Right, and you add 50 to the $100 that was already budgeted. At the end of the day, even though you budgeted $100, but you have spent $150, that is the outturn. So sometimes. Okay,
so let's go back to the book, Banting. How much was budgeted 2023 under George Manor we have for education?
So you can put the budget up, and we look at the number.
I put that up, but I said give you a number year, and I want us to be exact. I say how much was budgeted 2023 for education?
For University of Liberia, is around 18.3 million, but they ended up receiving about $30 million for University of Liberia.
But this is the University of Liberia,
right?
So my question here is: you were making a point. You were saying I wanted Liberian people to go with something. Education. Forget about the University of Liberia. How much was budgeted for education? I mean, so let's make this thing interesting. I just don't want to do this to both of you. Education, but go ahead, Martin, if you want to add.
No, it's me, CEO. It's me.
No,
Okay,
but I can
sorry.
respond to Martin and my people. Martin, not talk for 5 hours, though. Please.
No, you'll respond, but I want to do some fact checking while we're on the show.
Yeah, but why you doing the fact check now? Let me provide a little bit of lecture to my brother Martin. Martin,
asking you simple question.
I come in. Let me
No,
respond.
hold on. I think you need to answer Martin's question, and you will come in. I say, Martin, what's your question?
So you talking about education, investment in education, right? Which drives quality, because without intentional investment in education, we cannot achieve quality education. So comparatively, let's look at where the government peaked up from, right? 2023, you ended, and the Unity Party-led government peaked up from January 2024. So the year before the Unity Party government came to power, what did you invest in education?
Well, Martin, I just told you, said 23%. We have invested about 98 million, and UP invested 86. You ask me again, Martin, I beg you, I'm here for that you ultimate debate. Let me, Martin.
No, I said, wait, it's good to be clear. I beg you, you're not only talking of Martin.
But we are
98.1 million. 98.1 million.
That was the outturn of education in 2023. What the government actually spent. And 2024, Barack spent 86. But stand on, I don't want to lose my track. My thought.
No, which part of the budget? We are looking at the budget.
I mean, you asking me to be showing you part that who can be doing the show again? Go and look at it. You are. So, Martin,
I'm looking at the budget.
Everyone get their few. Martin.
No. What is 98 million? I'm looking at the budget.
Please, later they'll fact check. I beg you, Martin. Don't bring us to this or soup and processing thing. Please wait. Martin. Everyone get their few. Everyone get their few. And that's the reason why some of us get a little. It can be funny when people like you who know me, you used to come to me from Palm Springs.
So let's stick to the conversation.
Let me say this, Mandy, when it comes to finance and budgeting, you and I are in crowd. I can't go with you to it. Mandy, let me tell you, Mandy. I am not going to provide education to you based on I or AI, based on the reality that happens. Listen, budget is usually projection. It only means what you think you will get. When you go to the national budget, you will see budget 2024, projection 2025, projection 2026. It almost means the same thing. This is what in 2026 we think we will bring off. In 2024, there's what is approved. That budget is always a projection. Now, let me give you a little numbers. Today, the LRA brought out the first the result from the first half of the year. What did they say? Their budget, which was the projection, they expected to have collected, let me be sure I got it, 201 million. They collected 179 with 22.3%, $22.03 million that is in deficit. What does this tell you? Let's go down economic reasoning. You did economic at UL. Let's go down. If you want to go down to the budget, look at specific places to see how the country is doing. It will be a good thing for us to be fair with the people of Liberia so that they can know what is coming for them in the future. This is what the budget said. Personal income tax, for instance, the government projected to have collected 81 million. They did collect 70. You know what that means? Jobs went down. The more jobs go up, the more income tax. Let me go to the second one. Or corporate income tax. The government actually projected to have collected 17. Hold on, I want to make sure I'm providing it right now because I know you will say you go fact check. I don't want to give you anything that is wrong. Hold on, let me go here. Let me go to you. Okay.
Stop behaving like a kindergarten student.
Yeah, I know. So let me get you this. For instance, taxes on goods and services. The government projected to have collected 21 million. They collected only 18 million. You know what that tells you? It tells you that the business climate in Liberia is bad. People ain't buying goods. Goods not coming in the country. People not buying from the business people. So the government, let me end. Oh, no, please wait. I beg you, don't do that.
Let him finish, please. I said finish.
These are the real situations by our country. I don't want to go there where you want economic, the budget, because that part, you are not in our other school.
Okay. I
Isaac, do you
I should finish. Let's do this right quick for the sake of our audience. We're going to leave. We're going to leave the department. We're going to leave the Department of Education. We're going to leave the University of Liberia. I think you guys make enough, give the country enough reason why we are where we are when it comes to education. Martin, you disagree with the George Manawia government, and you think that we are doing better. I say you disagree. The Liberian people can decide. If we are doing better, the University of Liberia is crumbling. Though a lot of money have been projected, but we have an issue, a very serious issue. I think both of you will agree with the Liberian people that we need some major improvement. Let's talk about corruption in this government. I will have to pay.
Theo, before you transition, I just want to add a footnote, please, before you transition, because we're talking about education and economics. As two areas are no small thing about. Okay, first of all, budget projection are just that, projections, okay? Budget actualization is different. But even so, you need to be able to show what it is that you accomplished through the budget. So just because I say $50 for something, it doesn't mean that I put $50 worth of value into something. You need to be able to measure. For example, you say we have 2 schools here. Every school in Liberia got chairs. Every school in Liberia offers.
We'll do that in the post analysis. That's a book plan.
Listen, I'm saying for the quality and the value for the public.
You want after the debate?
You hear us talking a lot and can't point to specific things. That means we didn't get the desired outcome. The second thing about the economic part, if I project $1 million and then we actually realize $500,000 in collection, it doesn't mean that there was a downturn in jobs. It could mean that a problem with collection.
Let's do that at post analysis because we do not want to be.
No, I want to clarify.
I understand what you're saying. But right now it's 11 o'clock in Liberia. We've already got to press and move on. I beg both of you. Corruption. I'm going to start with you, Martin Kollie. We've been working excessively. We've been working tirelessly when it comes to being a whistleblower here in Liberia. We've been comparing notes and things are happening. Where are you on the fight of corruption compared to the last regime? Today, is this government performing well in the fight of corruption?
Thank you, CEO. Before we can even evaluate the performance of the Bwaka-led administration relative to the fight against corruption, it would be important for us to say that corruption is the most dangerous cancer in Liberia. It kills, and very fast too. That's why we must be able to encourage our government to do all it can to fight this menace. Because at the end of the day, what corruption does, it deprives our people of basic social services. Imagine we have 2-3 million to provide safe drinking water for a town in Lofa County, and someone sits there and diverts the 2-3 million to his or her personal use. It prevents safe drinking water from getting to Lofa County, so our people die of diarrhea. This is what corruption does. I have been a fan of public accountability, integrity, and probity. So when President Bwaka came to power, one of my first calls to him was to set up a special court to hear cases of corruption. Because at the moment we are using criminal code C. Criminal code C can hear other cases, criminal cases. But we are saying let's establish a special court, a specialized court to hear cases of because the level at which corruption is in that country is unprecedented. Look at the number of cases we have exposed. Some people have been suspended. So far, to be fair, President Bwaka is a step ahead of his predecessor in terms of fighting corruption. Why? Let me justify this. President Bwaka is suspending even people who supported him as a result of allegations of corruption. Look at the situation of LTA. Look at the situation of LACRA. Look at the situation of BSE, Bureau of State Enterprises. So he's suspending his own people, which is commendable. However, I would like to encourage our president to go beyond suspension, because suspension is not just enough. When we suspend them, what next? They must be investigated. When we investigate them, what next? They must be charged or indicted. When we charge them, what next? They must be prosecuted. If found guilty, they must be jailed and be made to restitute stolen assets or funds of the Republic. I would like for the president to go beyond just suspension. Unlike his predecessor, no suspension. People kept stealing, and quite frankly, when I say no suspension, indecisible number. I'm not saying he did not suspend, right? But the number of people President Bouaka suspended, they are far way more, and the records are there proof.
Thank you, Martin. Martin, thank you. We're gonna give equal time to Isaac Doe. This is about Martin Kollie and Isaac Doe engaging in the debate of corruption. Now, if you have questions for each other, please do. But Isaac Doe, we will give you your time. Corruption discussion is on the table.
All right, thank you. That's a problem. I want you to join Martin for me to debate two of you. So listen, Martin Kollie has written over 300 pages Facebook posts accusing everyone of corruption in Liberia. When the time came and they gave him the opportunity to come and real help, he ran away. They brought him and said, Martin Kollie, all the noise you've been causing, everybody stealing, only your one can steal. Come and help this country that face the corruption problem. Come as a recovery. He ran away. And he gave plenty of excuses why he ran. You know what? Real smart people don't run. They stand to improve the system. That's what we did. When we were called to serve, all those things were in bread and butter, but we stood our ground to help the system get better. The only opportunity Martin had from all of the 300 Facebook posts accusing the whole world of corruption besides just him, he ran. So you can hear he got nothing to tell you what the government did in terms of corruption. You talking about President Bouaka suspended? Fighting corruption, Martin, is not to suspend people. The issue of corruption should be a genuine fight. It is not a publicity contest where you want to get public sentiment. You just come to suspend people. President Weah actually came to fight corruption. He brought actions. What are the actions? Today, the LACC can prosecute anyone. They are not waiting for Ministry of Justice to approve before they do. You know who made that happen? President Weah. The RAA has been enhanced with that capacity. You know who started that? President Weah. My brother, President Weah did not just suspend people, he took people to jail. He persecuted people in court. Amin Moda resigned from your government. Amin Moda didn't resign because he's a patriot. He resigned because there were allegations of corruption. What court did he go into exonerate himself, Martin? Oh, President Bouaka encouraged him, America will appoint you. When you go steal, when you steal, I will suspend you, then you go sleep. Are you go fighting corruption? The only thing we have seen President Bouaka achieve is to go after past officials. Some of them have been in jail. Have been in court. Every day the government running away from their own case. You know why they carry Samuel to court? Because they said he gave the National Security Council money. Why he gave it to them when they didn't ask. They don't even care to ask the National Security Council what they did with the money, but they're asking Samuel why he gave them money. This is a lip service fight of corruption you're doing. Listen, we speak to people inside the Unity Party. Let me tell you what is going on. The lady at LACC is being pressured by the government to do all she can and bring up cases against someone. That's the reason why you see all of the cases ain't going nowhere.
What's your evidence?
Well, I'm providing evidence to you. Let people go and check it. You thought I'd listen to you. Give me a chance. So, man, President Weah actually took people to jail. He sent people to court. Let me tell you one thing you forget. Before I was appointed, The lady who sat by President Weah and tapped my name on the appointment list, President Weah suspended her and carried her to court. The lady who tapped my name, she was President Weah right-hand lady. She went to court. We are not talking about you tell someone, say, my man, go and steal. When you finish stealing, I will suspend you, then full and finish. When will President Boyka stop doing showboating? When they put, oh, the party fighting corruption.
Thank you, Isaac.
You had all of the leverage. They appointed you to asset recovery. You shouldn't have run away like you did. You should have stood as a quote-unquote smart man. Smart people don't run. They stand to make the system better.
I said thank you very much. Martin will give you time to. I said thank you very much. Martin will give you time.
Let me just correct. Let me just correct quickly. I have never claimed anywhere before to be a smart man. I'm a simple man. I'm an activist. I have never lied claim to being clever or smart or brilliant. Nah, you are wrong. So let's focus on the substance of the issue. Stop attacking. This conversation is not about red herring. Right. So let's focus on what the issues are. We are talking about corruption. What did you do differently that this government is not doing? Now you talk about the LACC without understanding the history of the LACC. The LACC was established under the administration before you. Even the IAA, the GSC, you came and met these structures. So you cannot brag about LACC, IAA. You didn't establish them. Let's be clear. The Liberian people are listening. And under the administration of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the current president was the vice president. So he can claim credit for the establishment of these anti-graft institutions. Before, Liberians never knew what they call audit of public officials. It had to be the Unity Party. We have to give it to them. Let's be fair. When we are having national conversations, the facts must precede and transcend. So what I'm saying, CEO, is that we still have a problem of corruption in the country. We should be offering solutions at the moment. Let me say this. Impunity in that country is unprecedented. Impunity is unprecedented. And our court system is to a certain extent weak and corrupt. Multiple reports, including U.S. State Department report, have stated that the court system is corrupt, it's colluded, it's compromised. To fight corruption in our country, we have to strengthen our democratic institutions, including civil society organizations. We have to make.
Allow me to ask you a question. We got to run. I'm backing you, and we got to find room for Dr. Bokla. Yeah, Martin, under this government, have we anyone in jail currently for corruption?
People were sent to jail temporarily. There are people in jail for crimes. So yes, I can say for a fact, because the thing is, CEO.
No, have we anyone in jail? Can you name them for corruption currently under this government?
I can recall, but people were sent to jail for alleged corruption, especially economic sabotage. I gave you an example.
Those are allegations that led to indictment, but after, have we concluded any case and anyone was transferred to jail for corruption?
Not to my knowledge. What I know, CEO, is that the government is investigating a number of cases, and these things, they take time. But here's the fact, right? And I have an issue with the Ministry of Justice here, right? Especially the minister. The Minister of Justice is a corporate lawyer. If I were to suggest to the president of Liberia, I would ask him to hire a criminal lawyer. There are too many cases of corruption. Look at the GSC report, for example. Too many reports, audit reports, SEC reports, and these reports have indicted.
Okay, so let me because we got to run. Thank you, Isaac Doe. You spoke that President George Monoway at the time persecuted folks, put them in jail. Can you name any 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those individuals that were persecuted? Isaac, that were persecuted and sent to jail?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mandy. I'm not sure if your computer got problem that the voice is not coming up. I didn't say President we are CDC established LACC. I know where you did that from. I said they turn LACC into.
How should I get to the question? Do
Yes,
you name anyone now? I said, please.
Every time anybody can check the time. Mandy has spoken for more than double what I've said. Let me have the answer. I have to correct this brother. Stand up. This brother can be on Facebook. Oh, they call everybody dumb. This is a place where we need to prove that dumb and smartness. So give me a chance. Let me educate a little bit. Oh, Mandy, hold on, Mandy. Nobody came in and told you that George, we are CDC established LACC or RAA. I said it change it. They make it even more powerful. That's what I told you. The action. So that when you're talking on your own. So stand on to your question. The folks at the National Housing Authority, I can send you pictures if you want. They had handcuffs in their hand, they went to jail. The EPA director was dismissed. People actually went to jail. Or Kamara from Water and Sewer was sent to be prosecuted. These are hard facts. Martin Kollie can come with let's discuss.
I said, let me narrow my question. I said, not prosecution. I said, my question was, how many folks for 6 years under George Manawea, how many individuals went to jail for corruption?
No, stand on. I'm not going to count the amount of human being, or I don't remember everything, but I'm going to give you an example of the fight against corruption that were not just in showboating, like you want to back public sentiment, but real actions that people took. And I'm telling you, LACC, before George Weah, we get a case and wait for Minister of Justice to say go and prosecute it. If Minister of Justice was a friend to the person being accused, that case will never be prosecuted. George Weah changed it and said, no, LACC, you got to wait for them. Go ahead.
George Weah changed it. I said, though, before that, the public come in, the LACC that you're speaking about under Clamartin, under Councilor Clamartin, the LACC, I want to squeeze in a question if you can allow me, I said, though, please. Under Clamartin, the last document I was presented to President Weah, that LACC submitted recommendation that had ministers. Here comes the election, nothing happened. I just wanted to include that real quick because then it was changed in 2022 to this new LDCC headed by Alexandra Zoe. I just wanted to be out there for the record. To be fair, let me give you your time, finish up, and then we'll move.
So stand on, like I was saying, recommendation was made. Okay, yeah, we can talk about that. But what we are talking about is actually who's fighting corruption or who fought corruption. Who is really doing it by actions, facts. Not you go do something just for the public to say, oh yeah, the public fighting corruption, again, suspending people in fighting corruption. When the government came to power, they received around 600,000 for inauguration. President Bwaga authorized the people to do audit. The audit had not even concluded. There was a big statement on the executive mansion website praising the woman who was in charge of that. Before the government even came to power, President Bwaga read him men Sylvester acts, or how you call them, social security for cars, 500,000. It was under the CDC government. Did we not know? Where are the cars today? Where are the cars? All of the cases around President Bwaga suspending people, and so what? I'm telling you that President Weah took action. I'm telling you that he didn't just come and say, you know what? Listen, President Weah took beating for political decisions that he actually mustered the courage to take that no other president will be brave to do. Harmonization, quickly, before I end Stanton, that man here talking about the people should bring the people pay down. He was against harmonization. Although he doesn't know he's talking about harmonization, but the very same harmonization man were all on Facebook talking about that what he's saying today they should do. So these are real facts. These are not, you can't, you just still want to make one mistake, you're running with it. Please.
Thank you very much, Minister Isaac Doe. Thank you very much, activists Martin K. and Kollie. We're going to go to Dr. Bobler. Dr. Bobler, should it be a question we appreciate on corruption, sir?
Yes. So the president, this current president, is 1.5 years in. And I want each of the our guests to put the two records side by side on fighting corruption. So President Weah, 1.5 years in, and President Boyka, 1.5 years in. And compare the two, and by the comparison, we, the audience, can draw our own conclusion. So Martin, 1.5 years in JNB versus George Manuel Weah, and the same question for Isaac Doe, 1.5 year in, compare the two. Martin, the fight on corruption. You're muted.
Thank you, Dr. Buble. I think this is a fair question to compare the two administrations, 1.5. So, under 1.5 years, President Joseph Boakai has not broken any of his properties to rebuild. Can we say that for the former president? The answer is no, we can't. In less than a year, he was breaking down almost all his properties and rebuilding them into duplexes and mansions. Can we say the same for current President Boakai? No, he still lives at his rehab residence. That's number one. The former chief of staff of ex-President George Weah, he claimed to have borrowed money from the LBDR. In no time, he bought an entire compound. Can we say that for the current chief of staff of President Boakai? No. Are there issues of corruption under President Boakai? Yes. But if you were to compare the two presidents in terms of going through the integrity tests, transparency tests, accountability tests, the record of the current president is better. It's better. Under the past president, key allies of his were sanctioned for corruption. The records are there. The records are there. His chief of staff, the gatekeeper to his office, was sanctioned. He is still sanctioned. His finance minister was sanctioned. He is still sanctioned. The man who led the youth wing of the ruling party under ex-President George Weah was also sanctioned. 5 of them were sanctioned by the world's superpower. Look at Boakai. Has anyone been sanctioned? Besides what took place under him, you heard about the Besson Gate, the passport scandal. Our international reputation was ruined. They sold our diplomatic passports. The former passport director was sanctioned. Is that not a fight? Do you want to challenge that? Do you want to dispute this? They sold our diplomatic passports in huge quantity to transnational criminals. As a result, our country's reputation, our international image was defaced. The Liberian people are aware. This is one of the reasons why they were butchered out of power. The government became inherently corrupt because public officials, especially junior officials, saw what the head was doing, breaking down his properties, building new ones. Go and look at the asset declaration form of former President Weah. Before he could become a presidential candidate, he declared his assets at the National Elections Commission. Go and look at the value of his assets, both monetary and non-monetary. He was broke. It is a fact. It's on record. We can upload the document. It's available. It's available. So how can you own today over 40 duplexes? Your wife owns an entire complex in Margibi, to be specific, and Boston. Is that fair to the Liberian people? No accountability. Today, your former finance minister is being charged for economic sabotage. The man who controlled the financial hub of the country, is under criminal investigation for financial crimes. So comparatively, Dr. Buple, if you look at, I forgot to say one thing, the stimulus package, the 30 million. Have we forgotten? The 16 missing billion. The report is still available. The US government only provided the redacted version, meaning the report was edited. Some lines in the report were covered. So all of these pieces of evidence are available to justify beyond all reasonable doubt that the past government was more corrupt. Even the president himself was corrupt. It is a fact. He hasn't justified how he built all those mansions and duplexes to date. His wife, the other day you listened to his wife, just recently, she was telling you they didn't have money, but today they have a complex. She calls it a private foundation, even though public money was used. Is that not conflict of interest? Is that not misuse of public office, which is in violation of the Code of Conduct Law of 2014? Let's be clear. Can we say that about the current First Lady? The law says, now, Dr. Poplar, let me scratch this.
While you close, yes, please.
The 2009 Financial Management Law talks about financial performance report. This is an open challenge to our former First Lady. Where is the financial? Because we gave her over over 5 million, in fact, if you check the records. Right. Where is the financial performance report? No financial performance report. But now she has a private foundation that owns a complex. The question is how? If you conduct a common lifestyle audit, right? And one of the reasons why we supported President Bouakai was to hold these people accountable, because the country was looted. It is a fight.
Thank you very much, Martin.
The national 1 minute, CEO. The national treasurer of our country was gang raped. It was gang raped. It is still bleeding today. My only disappointment is the snail pace at which President Bouakai is proceeding in terms of holding people accountable for the level at which they looted the national treasury.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Isaac, the same thing. 1.6 years into leadership.
Right.
Put we are first next to Doe and speak to it.
Yeah. So, Martin, the may ask us for 1 year and a half. You talk. Do you want me to give you some of my meaning so you can talk some more? Because I'm not sure you said anything yet. They mentioned 1.5, 1 year and a half. You jump all around the place and nobody know what you say. So, Martin, like I always tell you, my brother, to defend lies is bad. It's hard. One of the hardest jobs is when you lie always to come and prove it now. You can just be talking. Nobody understand what you're talking. Joe, we get money, he get money. Let's bring common sense to this table. Martin, have you been to President Bouakai house of recent? I was sending you the picture when I was in Liberia. So you can see how President Bouakai house looks today. In addition to that, President Bouakai is building 2 mansions. One in Foya, Lofa. I discovered that. Start around the show. When we tried going after that, Julius Jerry from OKFM went to the executive mansion to inquire. You know what they told him? That government money, they paying presidential palace there. President Bouakai is paying almost $10 million home in Foya. Go around Broadville. The president got almost 4 million mansion. Do you want me to tell you that President Bouakai's son, Jojo Bouakai, bought a house in Ghana? He got a house around single recently? 1.5 years. You want me to tell you that, Martin? Look, Martin, like I said initially, the lies and propaganda that you guys carry all around the place, suffering here today. You said President Weah was building 40 apartments, 50 apartments in 1 year, Martin. Let's do common sense. Let's take it from AR. Let's bring it to human brain. Martin, for you to build cement house in Liberia, your house you built, that house where you working, you never have business, no income, but that mansion you build, how long you build it? Martin, you think it is possible for someone to build 40 mansion in 6 months? Cement house in Liberia? I'm building. It's not possible. The only thing was, like right now, my house I'm building, I'm not putting it on Facebook. If they finish on 4 years from now, if I put it on Facebook, people will think, oh, you see, he just built a house. President, we have started building those houses from 2015. George Solo came on the show and said he was there when President Weah started clearing those places. But you guys came and brought lies. Yes, I will admit, President Weah 9th Street resident was the only place he built. I will admit on that. But all of those other ones were lies from the belly of the devil. Because why? The Liberian people were vulnerable. Anything you tell them, they will believe it. So Martin was there, the rescue Rambo, lying. In the first 1.5 years, you guys started saying Jefferson Koji bought a house. It turns out a Jeremiah Kuhn house. You talk about Bill or McGill. Martin, I work in the bank. Right now, as we speak, McGill still paying mortgage on the house. Today, as we speak, you and I, he's still paying mortgage. Yes, he was a PEP person and, politically exposed person. So there will be extra vetting to ensure. But as a banker, you always want to look at the capacity of the person to pay. Before he came to government, where was he? Even if he were to be dismissed, will he still pay? Those were the questions that a banker will ask. He took loan. But you guys lie. You want to go to 16 billion? I bet you and President Bwaka have to go and prosecute anybody for 16 billion. You say 30 million COVID money. Martin, are you lost from the conversation? Martin, government of Liberia did not even give nobody 30 million. The government of Liberia gave 25 million. World Bank gave 5 million. They gave the money to World Bank. Nugafwan, your man Nugafwan, he went to Doi FP recently and said, you're bringing the money. We should be asking Nugafwan when he deal with the money. Those were the lies you guys were going all around here and say you want to win. Now you come here, you start talking, don't even know how to put your own words out. When you leave from here, you will run back on Facebook. But let me end on this, Martin. I appreciate what you do. You do good work. People give you document, you put it on Facebook. Stick to that. Don't go around trying to prove like you are the most educated person. Martin, you attended UL from UL, you went Netherlands. Where you get your book from? Where you get your education from? Where you get it from? They're both hold you talking
okay, I said let's go back to corruption here. Again, I said you'll do that in your closing. You'll do that in your closing. You're the book people, you'll get a double, triple master. Let's come back on earth.
Want to personalize the debate.
We will move on, and this is very important, to the stand protest. This protest is scheduled for July 17. Martin Kollie, you go first because we got to close the show. Again, the producers are hating me so hard with this time. We appreciate you, Martin Kollie. We covered a lot. I hope we can move further with more of the topics, but let's talk about stand protest. They've been all around. We saw the June 7 protest. We're having Pedro Costa. Now, Mobile Motor Jr. is talking about another protest under this government. What say you, Martin? As an activist, do you think it's time for the protest under this government?
Quite frankly, I want to say every Liberian has the right to express himself or herself through protests. The Constitution guarantees that, specifically Article 17. You can assemble peacefully to petition stakeholders of the government relative to your displeasure or disenchantment. So at any given point in time, if a citizen or a group of citizens is disenchanted, if a citizen is disenchanted, he or she can express that through protests. So I'm not against protests. Protest was good yesterday. It is good today. It is part of our democracy. So I'm not against the fact that Stan wants to protest. Stan has every right to protest. On the other hand, the Constitution also says, whilst you have your rights under the Constitution, there are also responsibilities. So yes, you can protest, but other people also have the right to move around freely, free movement. So I will call on STAN and the national government to coordinate. STAN wants to protest. Yes, it has been announced. It is their right to protest. The government should guarantee that right. But the collaboration or coordination should take place to prevent protesters from violating the rights of other people, especially as it relates to free movement. The protest should be non-violent. This is where the police come in, because the police honor our laws, are responsible to enforce law and order, public safety. So if you want to protest, the police should be present to provide you security and ensure that even protesters are safe. So I have learned that STAN wrote the Minister of Justice a letter about the 17th protest, which is good. And the police should create a corridor of communication, constant communication and dialogue with the protesters. But I do support any citizen any day who wants to protest. In as much you are dissatisfied or disenchanted.
Do you think STAN has a reason to protest now?
They have given their own reasons. They know why they are protesting. I am now a member or an executive of STAN. Mr. Moba Molu is the chairman. He has outlined a number of reasons. Liberians who believe in what he has outlined will definitely follow him. Those who don't believe in what he has outlined will not follow.
Do you support his protest?
For me, if you ask me whether I support a protest, at this time, I would say no. I don't support protest at this time, because the government is like in year 2. Are there issues? Yes, there are issues. People have the right to protest about those issues of unemployment, issues of poverty, and so forth. But I would suggest an engagement, a proactive engagement with the government to present your issues in a way that fosters unity, dialogue, peace, and reconciliation.
Thank you.
Don't get me wrong, CEO. I'm not saying they should not protest. But if you were to ask me, right, personally, from my own position, vantage point, I don't think it is justified. I don't think it is justified to protest at this time. So that's my own position.
Thank you very much, Martin Kollie, the activist. And again, just for the record, Martin is not on the show representing the Unity Party. He is Martin Kollie, the activist. Now we're going to move to Isaac Doe. You know very well, as former Deputy Minister for Youth and Sport, is very, very important to know that Isaac Doe is a sedition. So again, we came here today to have a wonderful discussion, debate on different issues. And I hope you'll be given a chance to weigh in by way of your phone calls. Isaac Doe, protest, STAN protest. What's your position on this one?
Martin Kollie led bring back our money protest when no money got missing. Mo Ali is on tape saying protests should be protected by the government because it's the constitutional right of the people. I can read for you what Kula Fofana posted. June 7, Liberians are currently gathered at the seat of the capital, blah, 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 but the government should respect the people because the people's voices should be the voice of the country. I support the right of the people to protest of the government. There's no reason why the people should not protest. When you see a government that have gone against every traditional norms of our country, the people need to bring the government to book and tell the government that, listen, this is not a dictatorial form of government where you think because you are the president, you can conspire with people from the legislature to remove a city speaker, despite the fact that the Supreme Court ruled against you. You went ahead and did business with them anyways. A president that have done everything he could to ensure the rule of law is broken today. There are every reasons why the people should protest. Protest was never the bad thing yesterday when our brothers were protesting for something that did not happen. They have legitimate reasons to do what they're doing. The government continues to go after political opponents. That should be a reason to protest. The government has dismissed people they claim did not support them. That's the reason to protest. Once you don't go ahead and praise Baka as, oh, President Baka is a good man, they're ready to go after you. That's the reason to protest. Rule and law of our country has broken down. Why shouldn't the people remind the government that this government is not the government by President Baka? This government is the government of the people. I do support protests. And I think it strengthens our democracy. And the government must ensure they provide protection just the same way President Weah ordered his police director to give them drinking water. They should ensure the people do their protest in a peaceful manner with no police brutality as we have seen it all under this government. Oh, yes, they should.
Thank you. Martin Kollie, real quick, the issue about the burning of the Capitol building, we want to hear you. Maybe Isaac will have a consent, or maybe both of you agree. What's your say, the overall, to the election of Richard Coon? Now you have the time as an activist. You think the government proceeded correctly? I mean, they were in the right direction by the way in which Fanatic Kofa was removed.
So let's begin with the burning of the Capitol building. CEO, the fire of the matter is the Capitol building is one of the seats of our government. So it symbolizes the power and authority of the state. So when that building is attacked, symbolically, you have attacked the authority, legitimacy, and existence of the state and the government. Let's be clear. I do not support any form of violence, let alone arson, which is a criminal offense under the penal law of our country. In fact, it is a non-bailable offense, a grave crime indeed. To burn the Capitol building can be equated to burning the government, because that's one of the branches of our government, the legislature. So that building was attacked. And those who attacked that building, those who allegedly attacked that building, should be held accountable. That has been my position. That is my position today. And that will be my position tomorrow. The law should take its course, because Liberia is a country of law. When you commit a crime, the law must be able to be applied impartially. The principle of justice and fairness must apply to everyone, regardless of your status. People are being charged. Court proceedings are ongoing. We need to give that process a chance. I don't want to be prejudicial, because I'm not the court. I'm not a judge. I'm not even one of the legal counsels, whether for the complainant or the defendant. All I'm saying is let the government use the law to pursue the case.
Thank you.
Prosecuting the case, we have the defendants also trying to prove their innocence. At the end of the day, CEO, the determination will be made by the court. The court is the final arbiter of justice in the land. So let's give that process a chance. I'm against the alleged.
Thank you very much, Martin. I said, what say you? Listen to Martin answering the question and giving his own view. What say you?
Well, Stanton, everyone will agree that attack on the Capitol building was wrong and will be wrong every day. The perpetrators must be brought to justice. What we disagreed on is how it's been politicized, because we have spoken of this many, many times. And I would say what I've always said: President Biden and his people know exactly who did it. There are common judgment. Our human reasons can tell us. Few things happen. It was Speaker battle. They want to remove Speaker. So all they wanted to do, let's do something to put on the Speaker. Then we'll use that as a means to remove him. They had chairs in the building. Before the place got burned, the chairs just got on own feet and walked up there. The other people say they put one NSA man in jail because he was talking to Fonati Kofa December 6 for a building that got burned sometime December 18. And all of these things, they do know. It was one of the worst episodes in our country's history. As soon as the building got that fire, President Waka went there and said it was arson. So the government had to do everything to ensure that arson statement becomes the end of the day. That's not what we think we should be doing as a country. How do you investigate? And the only people you think you should ask questions should be the other side. Police could not even muster the courage to ask the majority black any question at all. They are immune from doing bad. That's what has broken down. No, stop down. Nothing. Anyways, I will stop there because
I was just trying to get to that point. I said, "Though, listen, we have you on Spoon Talk every day. We make this argument. So if I interrupt, it's because we know your position, but for the sake of the debate, we can close this show. We got 15 minutes to 8 p.m. here. We'll be closing the show, and Dr. Booklet will come to you. And I just want the guys to give us the overview on the JMB trip. Once you ask your last question, we'll close the show. We'll go to the phone line. The rest of the team will join us for post-analysis. I want to say to your activists, Martin K. and Kollie, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you very much. We hope today we put some icing on the cake as to your relationship with Isaac Doe. We are all Liberians. We are all young folks. You know, we laugh and joke, and I hope we can mend fences and focus on the goodness of our country. But it was always good having you, especially having you with Isaac Doe to have some exchanges. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you, Isaac Doe. Dr. Bopler, please, your last question. From there, we'll go to them for the closing.
Thank you, Steve, CEO. I do want to ask both Isaac and Martin. You know, as Liberians, we all want the best for our country. And so that should always be our disposition. So I want to ask each of you, what is one thing that this government is really doing well? And what will be your advice to the government to maximize the impact? What is one thing that you think the government is doing well? And what will be your advice to the government to maximize the impact of the good thing that's being done? Isaac Doe.
You probably ask me a question when I'm answering it, you want me to answer your way. So the government is doing good in many things.
Answer the question, man.
Let me tell you one what the government really doing good, and the government is doing too much good in marginalizing their political opponents. Oh, they're doing good. They're doing good in going after all of their political opponents. Once you disagree with the government, they will go after you. They are doing so much good into it. But you know what I will advise the government to do? Is to refocus their attention on the bread and butter issues of the country. The government is projecting that our Liberian dollars will depreciate further by 6.8% by the end of the year. Let them focus on how that can be changed around. Next year, they are increasing the tax burden on the people by around 18% VAT. Instead of focusing on your political opponents that you are doing so well, focus on the bread and butter issues. If you do that, you will have a good government. The people of the country know the problems of Liberia. They don't want you to come and tell them of the problems. They want you to bring solutions to the problem. So I will tell you the government is doing excellent going after their political opponents. But my recommendation will be refocus, turn around. Mami Wata, Manjua in the market, Leo Gary, they ain't buying it. The little guy ain't got no money to go to school. No job. You have not brought in a single job yet. Focus on those. Stop going after your political opponents because you think you'll be in power forever. That's one thing I know the government is doing very well. And my recommendation will be for them to refocus on the bread and butter issues that affect the country.
All right, thank you. My question was, what's the government doing well and what will you advise them to do to maximize the impact? Obviously, you chose to be sarcastic. So, but thank you for your response. Martin, what is one thing that the government is doing well? And what would be your advice to the government to maximize its impact?
So, thank you, Dr. Bople. the issue of the establishment of the Office of the War and Economic Crimes Court. Because the thing is, our greatest challenge in our country, Dr. Bople, is impunity. People steal government money, no accountability. They go scot-free. The next group of people, the same. So when President Boakai decided to establish the Office of the War and Economic Crimes Court, I think that was in the right direction. So I would suggest the Office of the War and Economic Crimes Court is good, but again, let's establish a specialized court to hear cases of corruption only. Because if we can address the issue of corruption, financial crimes, there will be a lot of issues addressed, problems addressed in our country. If we can limit, put a check on corruption, if we can minimize corruption, it means that poverty will also be minimized. Because if we have more resources as a result of a transparent system, there will be access to safe drinking water, there will be access to quality education, there will be access to better roads, there will be access to improved housing. All of these things have monetary implications. But the scarce resources we have are all a huge quantity or a huge portion of that money is being stolen. So let's deal with corruption. And I like the fact that the president established the Office, Economic Crimes. Whether in the past or now, people should be held accountable. If we crack down on impunity in that country, Dr. Bople, a lot of things could be resolved. Liberians will benefit. Liberians will enjoy Liberia. There will be economic prosperity if we can tighten the screw on corruption. Anything less than that, we are wasting time. Anything less than that, we are wasting time. To a larger extent, we've gained political independence. But our greatest problem at the moment is economic independence. And for our people to be economically independent, they need jobs. For them to get jobs, we need to drive private sector investment. That requires money. There are Liberian businesses. They need financing. What are we doing to create access to financing facilities like loans, subsidies? I can remember under the administration of former President William Aratoba, we passed a law called the Liberianization Policy. Liberians should be doing exclusive businesses. Unfortunately, you find foreigners doing what Liberians should be doing exclusively. The government needs to enforce that law. So I think we need to focus on the bread and butter issue, which is correct, create jobs for our people. The young people are unemployed. They have huge potential to do better and become better citizens. But where are the opportunities? The enabling environment has to be created by the government. We need to drive private sector growth. Everybody cannot get government job, but the government can create an enabling environment that leads the private sector home. And that has to do with political will.
Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you very much, Isaac Doe. We took 2 hours, 30 minutes. In the next 7 minutes will be 2 hours, 30 minutes. So I have you guys having this great conversation today. We hope the folks out there listening can have some impact. And we want to say we really do appreciate you guys. Let's close this time and we'll move to post-analysis. We'll call in. People will be calling in. I mean, you can stay on, you can leave. It will be open to you to listen to what the people have to say. Those that listen, a lot of folks turn in today to listen to the former Deputy Minister of Youth and Sport, Minister Isaac Doe, and the activists, Martin, K, and Kollie. Now, we're not going to ask you who won this debate. We just want you to give your own feedback. I'm not the person that will ask who won a debate. I'm so glad to have great men, young men, here in studio to discuss issues concerning our country. In your closing, we all witnessed, we saw President Joseph Boakai. He visited to the White House with Donald Trump. We listened to some of the stuff he presented and we continue to follow. We'll give you 2 minutes each to give us your closing right now. You open the program, Isaac Doe, we allow Martin to go first, and then you can close. So Martin, 7:55, you got 2 minutes. In your closing, please include President Barker's visit to the White House.
Thank you, CEO and Dr. Bople and Diamond, the entire team at Spoon, for the opportunity to speak to some of these issues, because our people deserve to know. Thanks to the listening audience. Basically, the visit of our president to the White House is a plus. It's a win for the country. This is a visit of a select few. Africa has 54 countries. The US president decided to invite 5 this time around. So we are privileged to have been invited by the leader of the free world. That's the first thing I want to say. I listened to our president today. I'm a proud Liberian because our president spoke eloquently. Whether you like it or not, for you to convince the United States of America, you must have a plan. And plans are articulated, not through our local vernaculars, through English. The president had 2 minutes and he spoke very well. The president did not talk about give us aid. He said, we are your partner. We have the potential to partnership, whether through trade, security, or whatever. The president spoke in 2 minutes. He presented and positioned Liberia as an emblem of regional peace, stability, and security. He went further by informing the US president that we managed to have done a geological survey that discovered more minerals than you thought we had. So now we have minerals like lithium, silver, zinc. We have uranium, cobalt, and you can name the rest. So we are open. We are a free market. Come and invest. The message of the president was crystal clear. We are a republic in Africa. We have mineral resources that you need. You can come and invest. You are invited to come and invest, whether through trade, commerce, security, or whatever. So I would like to commend the president. He spoke well. He represented the country well, and we are proud of that. You listen to US President Trump. He applauded the president. He applauded the president for being very articulate and clear in his message. So it was a message of the day, and I'm very sure with that representation, there will be dividends. There will be dividends in the not too.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Martin. Kollie, we're going to bring in Isaac Doe for his closing. Minister Isaac Doe, thank you very much again for coming in as a guest on this show to have this debate conversation with Martin Kollie. Your closing, sir.
Thank you. Liberians, if I want you to vote for me, please don't vote for me because I can speak English. If English could build a country, Liberia, who have been the best country on the planet. Do you know how many English presidents he spoke? Todd Doe. Who voted for President Barker to go and speak English somewhere? The reason why people are on the land voting is because you can speak English somewhere. Go down waterside and see how many people they cared about the English you're speaking in Tabadu or somewhere. How have we reduced our country to who speaks English? How? Anyways, I don't blame Martin. You know, Martin being smart now is determined by the little mistake you made. They use you smart. Who voted President Barker to speak Bok? Can we please go red light, Douala, Waterside, and ask the people Bok if the AU voted President Barker for? Please don't vote for me because I speak big English from the dictionary. Who cares about that? Nobody cares about it. But listen, I want to close like this. To give the Liberian people the real picture of Liberia over the next 4 years or so. Not me. Go to rescue. The government of President Boakai is projecting to us that the economy from now to 2029 will only grow at the mere 1.2 to 1.3% real GDP. And people will break it down for you to understand. What he's saying is the same way, the way he's making us suffer, you always suffer more. The government is also projecting that the Liberian dollar will further depreciate by 6.8% at 209 by the end of the year. And according to them, by 2029, it will be 218 to 220. Inflation today, as we speak, is around 12%. When President Weah left government, it was around 10%. It was election year. You know what happens election year? People are afraid to use their money. People don't put their money in the bank. Businesses are afraid to go buy their goods. Despite that, inflation was around 10%. Today, it is what it is. The government report tells us that $22 million wasn't able to be collected. You know what that tells you? That the country is doing poor. President Boakai, please go all around the planet, be speaking book, eh? Just be speaking book. The only thing they put you for is to speak big English, Papa. No. But again, I want to end on this. Manti, I know you don't want to tell me thank you because I know why, but thank you for coming. And I get a little advice for you, Manti. Manti, you are doing a good job. People gave you documents, you put it on Facebook. Manti is a good job. Thank you for helping. I'm proud of you. But Manti, you risk losing all of those things if you keep trying to project yourself as the only person that knows book and smart. Manti, you are a boy. You are a baby.
Focus on
what we achieved in our life cannot be compared with you anyway. I came on the show the last time I made a mistake. You took it and went all around the planet. I just laughed. Oh, I don't even know the map. If I don't ask you which country put on the map from the north, and you only know. It doesn't mean you smart. You are a good boy. My only advice to you, man, slow down small with it. You know too much book. Slow down. I passed when you used to go to me.
Thank you,
well,
thank you very much, Isaac Doe.
I say again. Some of them respect or the name.
Isaac Doe, thank you. Isaac Doe, thank you very much. We have closed the show. The Honorable Martin.
Inflation is not 12%. Inflation is 8.2%. 2025 IMF.
Oh,
thank you very much. Again, we close the show. We want to say to all of you, it's been a good show, Honorable Martin. We really appreciate you. Always welcome back. Thank you very much, sir, for coming.